Have you ever went on a sightseeing trip with your friends, but as you were chilling at the B&B, a homunculus comes out of the walls and starts murdering all your friends?
Bitch!
And then at the end of your life, when the killer has you cornered in a puzzle room you've been stuck on for fucking 3 hours, then you die with a knife in your back and... You wake up and realize you're in a time loop? No? Well, then you should play Homebody, a wonderful little escape room style puzzle horror game. Only 20 bucks on Steam, and it's worth the money. I do have a few issues with how the game functions, but other than that, it's a wonderful horror game. Got great atmosphere and interesting puzzles. So let's get into the main storyline. You start off not wanting to drive to hang out with your friends because you're a homebody. There it is. It's the title. It's the title. You don't like getting out of your house for unknown reasons, but it seems like you used to be a very different and energetic person. So reluctantly, you make your way to the Airbnb to watch the meteor showers your friends have invited you to, but then the power goes out. And the basement opens up. So trying to figure out how to turn the power back on, you go down to the basement and see all these mad scientist panels, and then you hear something upstairs and you go up and... What the fuck? There's a serial killer on the loose. Friends don't even seem fazed, by the way.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
And then soon after, you die. And then you're back. Like nothing ever happened. Now your new goal is to figure out puzzles and learn why you're all here to begin with. And find a way out of this haunted mansion, of course. Now, before I get into the gameplay nitpicks that I have, the story is really nice. It's a very interesting and weird way you learn about all of her friends. And then you learn more about this secret friend that she has, Pete, that was supposed to be here but isn't. And it's kind of implied that he either died or was murdered. And it might be the main character's fault that he is dead, that is. I don't know. The story in general is very interesting. And I recommend if you're into finding out just to either watch a playthrough of the game or just play the game yourself. But the story isn't the only thing I'm rating the game on, so let's get into the gameplay, and oh boy do I have a lot to say. The first few loops are great. Walking around the house, seeing weird puzzles, and talking to your friends and finding out your relationship with them is amazing. The great atmosphere, the lightning strikes are fucking jarring. Yikers. It's amazing. And luckily for me, I saw the killer pretty early where he comes out of in the wall. So I knew where he was spawning pretty much instantly. Now the puzzles themselves are pretty entertaining and cool. I don't know why the devs love the water puzzles so much, but there's like 3 of them, which is like, I think it's 1/8 of like all the puzzles. And they're pretty fun mathematical puzzles. My only problem with them is that for the first 2, it doesn't matter which one you do first because you only have a set amount of pumps each. But for the last ones, you have to do the prior 2 before you can do the last one, or it's just impossible. There's a note that tells you to do this, but because they reset every loop, I feel like they should be all solvable by themselves, but in order to get to the main door, you should be able to do all of them. I just didn't like how I got to the bottom and sat there for 20 minutes doing that puzzle and then realizing, oh, okay, I have to go back upstairs, do the other 2 so the water pressure goes down so I can come all the way back down and do, you know, I feel like they should all be their contained things, and then in order to open the door, it's like, oh, maybe if I go upstairs and do the other 2, the door will open, you know? Or like there's a little text prompt that's just like, oh, more water will open the door. Just a super niche thing I thought was weird. Just a personal thing I think would make it better. And on that topic, I want to talk about how solving the puzzles feel. Thematically, having an unkillable monster slowly roaming the halls while you try to solve puzzles and avoid them is pretty cool. Cool as fuck, actually. And when you find out in the story what the killer might be and why they're there, it's a super interesting villain. However, gameplay-wise, when you see the killer the first time, that is the only time they will ever be scary. The rest of the time, they will just be annoying as fuck. Now, this might just be my ADHD brain, but when I'm trying to solve a puzzle that really tickles my brain and I'm ripped away and stabbed in the back or just have to stand there because I'm cornered, because in all honesty, it's quicker to die than to hide in 15 minutes and come back and hope he doesn't route back around, it doesn't feel good. It's like being in an escape room, but every 15 minutes someone comes in and palms all the clues off the desk and just tells you start over. It's alright. Again, thematically, it's really cool, and I like the idea of having a killer on the loose in the house and you can't get out, but gameplay-wise, I like to have time to think over my puzzles, and maybe I'm just too desensitized to horror games to feel the pressure that the killer is supposed to give off, but it just feels way more annoying than scary. Which, to be fair, at the end of the game, you find out why this could be the case. You see the killer run out of the house to try to escape into the what I like to call the meat zone, and you realize that the killer doesn't want to be there as much as you do. Which, I guess while I'm talking about it, I'll talk about how the things I might find annoying might be on purpose because of story reasons. So I talked about how the killer keeps getting in the way of puzzles and it's easier just to give up and than to actually hide. And I think it might be this way because of the subtext of the story in this game is that the girl is locked inside her house with either PTSD or depression or a mix of some type of psychological illness. And it's also alluded to that the monster represents her in some capacity, which I might think the monster is a part of her, and the part of her that wants to go outside and is literally killing her and her friends to try to get out and be a normal person again, which might be the reason why it's so fucking annoying. And from a storytelling standpoint, that is super fucking cool. To actually have a personified self-hate creature that actually annoys and hurts you, that's super cool. But for someone who doesn't look into the story, I feel like you can easily see the creature as just an annoying roadblock that means nothing, which another problem I have with the game that's understandable, but I think is a little flawed, is when you die, there's a chance you get these interactable cutscenes before you come back that might be clues or just story bits. But honestly, they feel like punishments more than rewards. Because most of the time, when I died, I was on the verge of solving a puzzle, and then I die, and now I have to watch a 20-minute cutscene, which you don't have to watch, you can skip them, but if you want the story, you're gonna fucking watch the cutscene. Which is cool that you get the cutscenes in between dying, but when I'm on the brink of solving the puzzle, it's not what I want to do. I feel like they should be little rewards you get after solving the puzzle. Like little memory shards or something you pick up after solving a puzzle. I just feel like that would do it more justice because half the time when I'm going into these cutscenes, I'm just about to solve something and then I die. And so I'm already annoyed that I have to go back and redo like maybe half the puzzle or solve 2 more to get to this puzzle. And then I have to sit here for another 15 minutes because I don't want to miss any of the story because it is super good. But now I'm just sitting here like kind of rolling my eyes and I'm like, you know, I feel like they should definitely incentivize getting them instead of having them just be a natural thing that occurs, you know? However, that's the only problems I have. The only other problems I do have with the game boil down to me just being a dumbass. Like how I didn't know you could go into the killer's room, which is something you have to do to win the game. Yeah, so I found the killer super early. I just ran. Didn't realize that that painting actually opens up and you go in there. So that was super cool. Probably made the game an extra 2 hours longer. But all in all, the story subjects in the game are super amazing, and I feel like this would be an awesome short film or movie. I would definitely watch like a 10-episode like Netflix series about this. Which also brings me to my second point. I feel like the gameplay was secondary and the story was first, which is fine, but it definitely makes the gameplay feel tacked on to what the story is. I feel like if they wanted to tell this story, they should have implemented, like I said before, they should have implemented the memories into the gameplay, not have it be a death condition. But for 20 bucks, it's pretty damn good to complete in a weekend. It's just a fun little novel you can read, go on in, have a great time walking around the house, Resident Evil camera style. This also might just be a me thing. I am taken out of the game a little bit because of some of the wonky animations. That might just be because it takes a lot to scare me, so even these little things can throw me out of it. But other than that, I really did like the game. The entire story, reading the notes, having all these little puzzles, it was great. I give this game a 6 out of 10, really liked it, and you should go play it if you want to know the story. And with all that being said, like, subscribe, and come back next time, little homebodies.
Alone at the edge of a universe humming a tune with sparkling crystal souls aglow. part of thee, in the key of what we know to be every part without me, knows only two can make it life.